can change your life forever.
Bass-driven, dub-influenced mutation of garage, really.
Across Bristol, offices were darkened.
Yo, Bristol, you good?
The most closest community.
Bristol has always been like kind of open-minded when it comes to music. And they're coming to these raves and they're hearing the music and it's just like, it's hard not to like it.
Coming down into an establishment where the people are firm, because
patchy rain. Bristol, I think, generally cloudy from.
The best place in the UK to dubstep, mate.
Do you know what, Bristol?
DJs, producers,
living here.
Nearly everything was out on the Colston Tower, and nothing could be seen shining through the windows of the council house on College Green.
Yo, Bristol, it's your time to rise up on Radio 1. Make yourself known. Rise up.
So, it's Marianne Hobbs. This is BBC Radio 1 Experimental. We are all the way live till 4 o'clock this morning and online all week at bbc.co.uk/Radio 1. Tonight, we present Bristol Rise Up. This a very, very special show, throwing the spotlight on the city's incredible community of young producers. We have 12 of the most vital, free-thinking, forward-marching Bristol-based artists playing exclusive back-to-back sets on the show tonight. Pinch, Joker and Jemmy, Headhunter, Wedge and Komonazmuk, Peveralist, Rsd, Jakes and Appleblim, Gatekeeper with Grilza, and Forsaken with Ben Blackmore. Tonight, a 2-hour sonic journey deep into the very heart of Bristol's dubstep sounds. Each producer drawing in completely different textures, echoes of minimal techno, of dark dub reggae, acoustic instrumentation, purple sounds, and explosive 21st century grime. And we open tonight with the king of the Bristol scene himself, the mighty DJ Pinch.
Yo, Bristol, rise up on Radio 1, the Marianne Hobbs Show. Rise up. Bristol, rise up. Pinch, tectonic, step up to the plate.
for 5 hours, one for 8 hours, and then on Sundays for 3 hours in the morning.
Wait, what happened?
81199 if you want to hit us tonight. Big shout out to all the West Country massive, to Guido, Waskell, Fella and Coton, to Time and Thinking, to Dubboy, Sofa Bed, Trigger and Renegatus. DJ Pinch, myspace.com/Tectonic Recordings.
Yo, we're under the underground. It's Marianne Hobbs, live on Radio 1.
Crazy! DJ Joker! Oi!
Bristol, rise up. Joker, step up to the turntable.
Bristol's young lion, Joker. Jump online when you get a chance to. Check out the film that we made about the city. It's up at youtube.com/Marianne Hobbs TV. And you can see this boy showing off his skills on his bike. myspace.com/The Joker Productions. Check in.
Bristol Rise Up. It's Marianne Hobbs. Radio 1. Rise Up. Bristol, rise up. Gatekeeper, make your way to the decks. Hench.
sports watch on the sofa. Blow that smoke on the dance floor, getting too flat when they bail that line. Some greedy, he's trying to reload, but he just told you. Then he just like a last walk, dark walk, trying to get paid, but I walk, won't hit Bristol. Red rum, then I'm back into Larkle marbles. Lost them, none of them bars from Barkle. Shit, I want a piece of anything master my art. Now I'm trying to write out who's past them fools with a marvelous alarming. Leaned up different flow, yeah. Some I know I got a different flow. On a different boat, I'm a different bloke. More than one who's take a different toll. Though they all start dropping like my flow. Be toothed up gaze and I blazed them up in the booth. Not MCs trying to talk bees in the youth clubs. Useless, waste my breath for a few bucks. Actually, nah, I gotta step my peas and I'm sneaky like Dick Dastardly. I got played on Radio 1's a Glastonbury. Music's deep is attached to me, but enough of that. I'll lick your head off for a few bars. Swing out the car like what? That's just how life goes. I'm chasing, I ran for an 8 and a hand and I can't understand that they breaking the man for the beat. It's a plan, Joe. Wait till I land, I will spray command on the beats where I stand like I don't give a doubt, cause I know that I'm ahead of your station.
Them a boy like fire in the belly, but them can't ignite. Them a real get to use, even if you know the right roads. Them a boy like fire in the belly, but them can't ignite. Them a real get to use, they need to understand the right roads.
I'm not styler, but I be the prince of thieves. When I intervene, I might instantly get a hold of a symphony. I got them into me, so that's why some man wanna talk like I don't care. 16 stuck in their head, I take an inch of that greed and a pinch full of glee. Never juice that content in art, but the flow don't no joke. That's why they're in for me. So I get it to do and then instantly they get an infantry. Like when you wanna act like you're rolling, roll is older than me. I got a thing for peas. Like I was on that when we used to drink cider. That type of boost get lean, I get liver. That was that line, might line up. Beats got a vibe and a scene, and you know that. I hit the big bar right to the boost wide open. You know that I jump inside, got a mic, I pay some green for another light. Tell them black, I'm through the lot, man, I'm energized. Don't stiff right down me, I got some party vodka. Strap with the soup with some Marley. Then I might step up the level, so you never saw I go. I'm just doing nothing today. I just wanna get my kicks. Stack my G, got notes in the box, so you know that I could bust that in any other day, in any other way. I gotta move them Dubplates, digital downloads in any other place. And they might not know me when I'm struggling right with an open eye. You ready for the onslaught? One sort, took all the keys in the console. They ain't got nothing on me.
Big shout to Blazy and to Adam from Body Nods, to Deep Fiend, EFA and Sick Man. Big shout to Coast, the Dub Boy, Sandman out in Northampton, Natasha in Carlisle, Big Fridge in Bristol, and Chalky who says he cannot wait to see Komonazmuk this Friday in Wunderbar. Sounds of Gatekeeper and Grilza on BBC Radio 1 Experimental. myspace.com/gatekeeper and /Grillzaba1.
Yo, Bristol, rise up on Radio 1, the Mary and Hobbs show. Bristol, rise up. Komonazmuk, Hench crew, step up to the decks.
In jazz, with improvising on a theme and so forth. Without the theme, it's not as easy to get in there and understand it. But for us, I think with contemporary music and the avant-garde, and to try to bring that into a context that's enjoyable and digestible for people. That's what you do when you learn jazz, you play standards. It's always done with a very serious intention. We never play something to make fun of it. We're not fans of ironic music.
So there's a line there. When is cool kitsch? When is kitsch cool? When does having fun turn into making fun.
We're playing a serious piece of music with the intention of, engaging the audience in a very complicated way. There are, I think, multiple levels that are happening with all these pieces of music that we play, and people relate to them from their own lives, but we're kind of taking them apart and putting them back together in different ways based on all the kind of music that we're informed by.
Well, you mentioned the word choices, so how do you choose?
There's an invisible set of criteria, I guess, that we have. That it has to be a strong piece of music that's I would say, sort of indestructible.
Much love and maximum respect out to everybody locked and listening live right around the planet tonight. Big shout to Recab in Perth, to Boring in Buffalo, New York City, Ghost of a Lion in Stockholm in Sweden, Jim the Exploder in North Yorkshire, Broccolio out in New York City, Rude Tone in York, and Rob Booth, who says, I'm selling my house and moving to Bristol. Of the city's most notorious hellraiser, Komonazmuk. He wrote this entire piece exclusively for the show tonight. MySpace.com/Komonazmuk, that's with a K.
Radio 1, the Marianne Hobbs Show. Bristol, rise up. Jakes, make yourself known.
This boy, a truly gifted producer and also Bristol's best loved MC. The people's champion. His name is Jakes. Check in at myspace.com/Jakes Hench. I tell you what, if you want to learn a little bit more about the city's musical history, hop online, bbc.co.uk/Radio1/Marianne Hobbs, and check Ben Slinger's feature up there.
Bristol Rise Up. It's Marianne Hobbs, Radio 1. Rise up. Bristol, rise up. Apple Bloom, Skull Disco. Step up to the plate.
Take a look in at the soul, yeah. Got to give some love, eh. Really got to give some love, eh. The wicked they pan the road. I hope them lose them soul. I say them need some love, eh. Really need some love, eh. Take a look in at the eye, yeah. Take a look in at the soul, yeah. Take a look in at the soul, yeah. Take a look in at the soul. If alone I could have helped you, be stopped from doing this. If alone I could have stopped you from doing this. If alone I could have helped you, be stopped from doing this. If alone I could have stopped you from doing it. If alone I could have helped you, be stopped from doing this. If alone I could have stopped you from doing it.
This boy, of course, founder of the notorious Skull Disco label, now heads up Apple Pips. Such a gifted and prolific producer. Apple Blim on BBC Radio 1 Experimental tonight. Check him at myspace.com/Appleblim.
Bristol Rise Up. It's Marianne Hobbs. Radio 1.
Rise up.
Swamp kind of thing. Bristol Rise Up. Headhunter. Tempa. Hench fam. Step up to the place.
And dreams. Speak to me about crossing the extreme. Speak to me of protection and land. But I'm about to talk to me about things you don't understand. Speak to me of greed and illegality. Speak to me of hope and reality. Speak to me of borders and control. Deny me all the basic things, then send me back home. Speak to me of language and violence. Speak to me of voices burdened with silence. Speak to me of migration and masses, or the politics you gain from the scars of 50 lashes. Speak to me of displacement and fear. Speak to me of roots that disappear. Speak to me of confliction and doubt, or just witness the pain of a life lived without. Speak to me of trafficking and flesh. Speak to me of transportation and death. Speak to me of economics and need. With all the money that you make, you still a beg on your knees. Speak with me, just try to tell me something. Speak with me, just try to tell me something. Speak with me, just try to tell me something. Speak with me, just try to tell me something. organization of a new world war. Speak to me of memory and speed. Speak to me of blood water disease. Speak to me of delegitimization, suspicion definition amongst the demonization. Speak to me of conflict in nation. Speak to me of your own implication. Speak to me of conspiracy of law. Geographical flow is just your own damn flaw. Just try
Big shout out to Faresha on the text tonight. She says she runs a night in Bristol called Season 5 and Headhunter is playing for her on Saturday the 13th of December. 81199 if you want to get in touch tonight. Big shout to Kuma in Vancouver, to Captain Da in Bratislava, Pandaya out in Boston, to F in France, and to Dubstep Tim out in DC. It's great to have you with us. Check this boy, Tempa's Young Star, at myspace.com/Dubstep Headhunter.
Yo, Bristol, rise up on Radio 1, the Mary and Hobbs Show.
Rise up, rise up.
Bristol, rise up. Jelly, capsize, punch drum, step up to the deck, sir.
tell you, the show getting so much love from all over the world tonight. Big up all the Dubstep Forum crew locked and listening live. We got Signs with us in Houston, Texas. Stay Puft, Swift Guyver and Joseph in Atlanta. DSZ out in Tokyo, Japan. Sinus, Rich Carnage, Phono and Elmo out in Finland. Big shout to the Bristol girls too, to Jasmine, to Sophie and to Super Hench Wench.
Understand this. Calm, truck, correct. You have artistic control over the music.
Standard.
Meaning you have the right to change the lyrics, remix our music.
It's not a question of marketing. Reach a wider audience.
Cross that out. I give nobody the right to water down our song.
Tell you what, you can expect big things from Jemmy in 2009. Check him at myspace.com/DJ Jemmy.
Yo, we're under the underground. It's Mary and Hobbs, live on Radio 1. Rise up.
Rise up.
Bristol, rise up. Peverlis, punch drunk, step up to the plate.
On BBC Radio 1 Experimental. He's in charge up at Rooted Records in Bristol. And if you want to take a peep inside the shop, jump online, youtube.com/Marianne Hobbs TV. Check the little film we made about the city up there. Peverless will give you a guided tour. Big shout out to everybody who's heading up to the Black Swan for Pinch's next massive subloaded dance there on December the 12th. You can see Peverless playing alongside Rsd, Blazy and Jakes. Pinch himself is there, so is Loafer, Silky and Quest, Moving Ninja and Cyrus. You know that's gonna be massive, man. Check Peverlist at myspace.com/Punch-Drunk Records.
It's Radio 1, the Marianne Hobbs Show.
Rise up.
Dirty, disgusting, please.
Bristol, rise up. RSD, step up to the plate. Make yourself known.
Rise up, people, and take your stand. Rise up. Yeah, equal rights and justice for all. Rise up. Boy, rise up, we have to be strong. Rise up, stand firm, it's only just begun. Rise up, the battle will rain night and day. And when the sun shines, I'll kneel and pray and give thanks and praise now. I'll kneel and pray and thank him for today now. Yes, rise up, the youths, we must show the way. Rise up, I just say, what him say, hear what me say.
Rise up and make we get to wise up. Rise up and make we get to wise up. Rise up and me say take your stand. Yes sir, this is a question and me want to answer. Why you get up every day and you are praise Lucifer? It seems like you must want some evil power. And now where you want go tell Almighty Jaja, him a go lick you with the lightning with the thunder. Rise up and make we get to wise up. Rise up and make we get to wise up. Rise up and me say take your stand. I wish papi the man a holy land. You what about your wicked and not about your cool, but what about the half that I never been told. So give thanks to the because I in half your soul. And it is this right there, we right down the soul.
Big shout to Beefy, to Aki 2 and Funk Ethics. We got Glacial with us in the Ukraine, Necker in Plymouth, LEQ in London, Spider-Man, Ruin and Monkster. Right now, you listen to the sounds of Rsd, one half of the legendary Smith and Mighty on BBC Radio 1 Experimental tonight. The Bristol Rise Up Special. Check this boy at myspace.com/dubrockers.
Yo, we're under the underground. It's Marianne Hobbs, live on Radio 1. Rise up.
Rise up.
Bristol, rise up. Wedge, step up to the plate.
Bristol, because the kind of people you're talking about form the sort of Bristol tension. People that don't know, Bristol is a small city in the southwest of England that has quite a strong basement and reggae heritage.
Let me just lay out what I believe is happening. His aggressive behavior, his increased detachment from reality, his inability to cope with the forces in the world that he perceives to be the forces in the world that he perceives to be the forces in the world.
Big shout out to Hyetal. You heard a brand new dubplate from him. We should light a fire right at the very top of the show tonight. And a big shout out to Culture who tipped me off about him. We got Oxide with us in Croatia, Surface Tension out in Indiana, Fused Forces in Essex, Error and Court of Sea in Nottingham. HXDB in Vancouver, Canada, and LQ out in New Zealand. This boy rolls with a Hench massive. His name is DJ Wedge. MySpace.com/DJ Wedge. Check in.
It's Radio 1, the Mary and Hobbs Show. Bristol, Rise Up. Forsaken featuring Ben Blackmore. One kind of thing.
Forsaken and Ben Blackmore, leaving a beautiful vapour trail on the Bristol Rise Up special on BBC Radio 1 Experimental tonight. Check them at myspace.com/Forsaken Dubstep and /Ben J. Blackmore. Much love, massive thanks and maximum respect out to all the Bristol players tonight, changing the world with sound. To Pinch, Joker and Jemmy, Headhunter, Wedge and Komonazmuk. To Peveralist, RSD, Jakes and Appleblim. Gatekeeper with Grilza, and of course these two, Forsaken and Ben Blackmore. Remember, you can jump online, grab a rewind of this show anytime you like. There's a full comprehensive track listing up there too. Photographs and Ben Slinger's piece about the history of contemporary sound in the city and how we arrived at this point tonight. You can check it all at bbc.co.uk/Radio1/Mary Ann Hobbs. You can also see the little film that we made about our day trip to Bristol. Just a little pencil sketch of the city. It's up at youtube.com/Mary Ann Hobbs TV. Next week we have Daedalus in the mix. We'll see you then. Tuesday nights, 2 a.m. Don't be late.
Thank you very much, Mary Ann.
Radio 1.